I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am.
I am. I am.
I am.
We are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of We Are Downstream Outdoors. This week on We Are Downstream Outdoors, I'm joined by Carl Brevard. Carl, you're one of our fishing guys, right?
Yes, indeedy.
You've been around. I ain't gonna try to guess numbers where you were at, but you were in, some of the pretty early on episodes.
Yeah.
What are some of your earliest memories of being in the outdoors?
Actually, like my earliest memories of outdoors is when I was a kid. Like I grew up in the city. I'm from Pittsburgh and grew up in the city, so really wasn't no woods. But out in my backyard, it was like overgrown, and there was a fence back there that went to the neighbors. And I used to tunnel my way back there, and that was my little cabin, my little outside hut. And we make little clubhouses, and we, growing up, the little bit of woods there were in the neighborhood, we would go up and we would get like cardboard boxes. If somebody got a new washing machine or stove or something like that, we would take the box and we make little clubhouses and stuff.
So even from an early age, you were trying to get outdoors.
Yeah, I've always.
Do you remember the first time you went fishing?
First time I went fishing, I was probably, I want to say probably like 6 or 7. It was at the YMCA summer camp.
Right
and
on.
They took us to the park. They took us to Highland Park. They used to have a little lake out there, and we had bamboo sticks, and we had hooks, and we had dough balls. And that's the first time I remember fishing.
Did you catch anything?
I don't think so. I don't remember that far back. I don't remember catching anything, so nah. I don't.
Fair enough, but it was at least enough to hook you. That you started to do it. Once you got older, you started doing it again.
Yeah.
And I assume, obviously you're from Central Pennsylvania now. You started fishing before you came to Central Pennsylvania, or did you start whenever you were still living in Pittsburgh?
I started when I was in Pittsburgh. Like my dad used to take me fishing. We used to go a couple places, up to Lake Arthur, up North Park. Just a couple other places he used to take me. We go fishing. Then when I moved to Washington, D.C., I went fishing down there a lot because I go out to the Chesapeake and go out there and fish. Do a lot of crabbing. Then I pretty much kind of settled down for a while. And once I moved to Central Pennsylvania, once I moved up here, there was nothing else to do. Honestly, really nothing else to do. So I started, going to Canoe Creek and fishing there, and then up to Glendale. And then I started venturing off from the lakes because I'm really not a big lake fishing person per se. I mean, I really like going in the streams more.
Yeah.
So there was a couple little streams that the job I used to work for, they used to take me all throughout these little towns and stuff up on these mountains. And a lot of the customers, they were up in the mountains, so they hunted and fished. Well, you go in and you see these great big mounts of these trout that they had caught. And I started asking, well, where were you catching these at? And, that's the one thing I can say this universal fishermen. If you're interested and they find out you're really into fishing, they had no problem on telling you where to go find some fish at.
Yeah.
So, I got into it, and one thing led to another, and voila, now I'm out here fishing in January.
In January, yes. Yeah, I alluded to this with Mikey, and I guess we'll get into that now. You and I and Jake went fishing down on Yellow Creek. What was that, 2 years ago?
Yes.
And it was so cold that whenever you would cast in, you would bring your lure up out, and by the time you picked it up to get ready to recast, it was froze. It was completely frozen into a block of ice. Not really a square, but a big.
The blade would have ice off of it, and then whatever, like your beads, everything was iced over.
Literally every time we had to take and break them up and break the ice off of them for the next cast.
Eyelids, you had to break the top 3 off. And, yeah, that was kind of brutal. I think we lasted, a half hour?
I think on video we ended up lasting like 45 minutes on video.
Okay, something like that. I know it was
Straight through.
It was cold
It ended when Jake actually dropped his rod in the water, and he got it back up out of the water, and it had completely frozen into a giant block of ice.
Block of ice.
And so we decided to go have breakfast after that.
Hey, it was still a nice time. We still had, we had the attempt. We actually did throw out there and tried a couple times. We made it a little bit up the stream, but we need to make it back down there.
Yeah, we definitely do need to make it back down there. If you remember, I was the one leading the way up the stream, and I was busting my way through the ice. Like, the ice was like an inch thick along the bank, and it was out, 10 feet, and I was busting my way up through the ice. And then we'd get to a hole, and we'd all venture out and try to hit that hole. Yeah. It was a brutal day.
And it was, but we've been, in the last couple of years, we've been out in the cold weather and actually fished. I fell in New Year's Day up in Cook's Forest that time.
Yes, yeah, you fell in the Clarion River New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
What was that, 2 years ago again?
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Something like that. Then the next day we went fishing. What did we do? We went to another stream that was a little safer. We felt a little bit more comfortable navigating it, even though we weren't. It was new to us, and caught a fish.
Yeah.
Caught was it a brownie?
Yeah, I think it might have been a brown trout.
It was a brown trout.
That was Blue Jay Creek episode. Yeah, that episode.
Yeah, it was way back.
It
was in the single digits, I do believe.
The little thing that I put up there, that'll be I'll put in the episode number.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I do have that technology I try to implement once in a while.
Hey, you know what? From the beginning, I remember when you recorded using your phone.
No, I never did Downstream Outdoors officially with a phone.
You didn't do it with the phone, but you had the backup for the phone, and you were able to edit some stuff, and you used it for stuff like that in the beginning, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
When we first started, we had the one GoPro.
Right.
And that was it. We had the original GoPro. That was all we had at the first. Okay? And then, obviously, we've expanded since then. Yeah. We got bags and cases and tripods, and I try to put on the best show I can.
Even some new technology coming. Wait for it this spring.
Yeah. We'll worry about that later. But another fun episode we can talk about. You were on the 100th episode with us.
Another cold one, yes.
Another cold one. We did that one, I think, in like February.
It was February, and it was, I would think with the wind chill was like minus something. But it was for the cause, and we all got out there. It was minus 9. Jeez.
We're getting hand signals from nowhere. Erin's over here. She's our fact finder.
Yes. But it was again, it was more of, we all went out there and gave it a shot of fishing in that weather, just to try to get that toe in your line, so you catch that trout or whatever it was going to be that day. But it's worth it.
I tell you, you said about the phone, and I thought about it. I do remember one particular incident where I had to use my phone. My camera had died, and you had hooked one of the biggest brown trout you have ever hooked in your life. That might be stretching a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Actually, to be truthful, it went from here up my arm. So
yeah,
this part is not stretching it. It's that
long. And my camera had died, and you hooked this monster on Blair Gap Run episode. Yeah, that episode. Which was a crazy time. And yeah, I actually recorded that one on my cell phone because my GoPro had died, and that's when we were still just operating with the one original GoPro. I didn't have any battery backups, nothing like that. But we got it on episode. That was a heck of a fishing trip for us. I'm bringing this up because I don't want it to sound like all these fishing trips that Carl and I go on are these frozen tundras and
Well, you figure we've been on quite a few episodes where we've been out in summer. In spring, so we do a whole lot all year long, and during the summer, once it gets too hot, it's a little harder. But during the spring, we've got out got on there quite a bit.
Yeah.
High water, muddy water, pretty much everywhere.
Yeah,
Especially around here.
you and I've actually been fishing together longer than Downstream Outdoors has been around.
Yes.
We got a few years before Downstream Outdoors there. Fun story. I'm pretty sure you're going to hear it a couple times throughout the course of these We Are series. The first time I ever went fishing with Carl was on the Frankstown branch of the Juniata River. Just a little stretch way up here by Claysburg, East Freedom area. And you showed up with
Pretty much a suitcase.
a giant orange suitcase on wheels at the river.
I'm a prepared fisherman.
Yes, you are.
I was prepared for deep sea fishing. Ocean. I could have been on the ocean, the river. Didn't matter. I was ready to go.
Yeah. When now you've settled down a little bit more, and you can prioritize and say, okay, I'm going after this species. I'm only taking this stuff with me.
Now, you know what? I don't even own a whole lot of tackle anymore. I pretty much have all my tackles geared towards certain things. Like I have, a case that if we're gonna go on a boat somewhere, I have some lures I can use, some divers and things like that. I also have a different setup for when we're out on the river doing our style of fishing. All I need is a vest. There's even sometimes I don't even need a vest. I just need a couple lures throw in my pocket and go. Makes it lighter, makes it a little bit easier.
See, it's unfortunate. I have gear for all these situations because I got ocean rods and noodle rods and fly rods and spin rods and bait rods
and everything.
It's a lot of stuff.
Yes,
but when we're actually out, we're very selective with our gear, and we go pretty lightweight because we like to move.
Yes. And that's getting, as you're, getting old, it's something else moving. It's worth it because the day you're doing it, the adrenaline's pumping, and you're like, yes, you're just trying to get to that next hole or around that next bend and see what's around there, or to that next fall. And the next day, it's like, oh.
Especially when you're exploring new water.
Yes.
Like we did recently. We just recently fished Loop Run, L-O-U-P Run. I believe it was episode 194. Yeah, I think it was 194. Yes. We did Loop Run. That was... you and I and Mike, we walked up into those woods. We were up in there. We walked 3 hours back into the woods. Didn't see another living soul for 3 hours.
It was nice.
It was nice. The weather could have been a little bit nicer, but it worked.
It was worth it. It was something that, you know what? It was enough to pique my interest that I'll go back up there again.
Yeah, I agree. That was a fun little place to go, and I definitely feel like it has potential.
Yeah, it does.
We know there's fish in there.
We know there's fish in there and little natives in there, so
yeah.
That makes it fun.
It's unfortunate though. I'm starting to question a little bit more along the lines what Mike was saying to me before. We may still be going too many people at times for natives, because if you notice, whenever it's just like you and I, we catch natives.
Right.
So 3 may be too many. So maybe we're going to start alternating people we go after natives with, and try to go as groups of 2. Maybe spook the fish less.
Well, the problem, a lot of things is with 3 of us, they're skittish. They're used to certain things, and when it's something different, they go hide.
Yeah.
And they're not going to come out and eat. So
right.
With 2 of us, you're right. It makes it a little bit easier. We stand back a little further and hit the holes a little bit easier. It makes it easier to alternate with 2 than it does with 3. But it's one of those things. It depends on the body of water. It depends on the stream and the location. If you're somewhere where we're deep back into the woods, where you got a lot of overgrown, a lot of trees, maybe it's a little harder to spook them. But when you got little spots where you get little openings and it's a little open, I can see spooking them a little easier, because it's not really to camouflage yourself pulling up behind them.
Now, obviously, I have my own answers for this, but what is it about native brook trout that appeals to you?
It's just the fact that when I first moved to Central PA, there's a little creek that comes down behind Canoe Creek, back behind the furnaces. That's one of the first little streams I ever went and fished by myself. And I was fishing, and I'm threw a lure up and I'm spinning it down, and little fish, little thing grabbed hold to it, and I didn't realize what it was in the beginning. I'm just like, what the heck is this little thing right here? And the colors were so bright, and it was just like, wow. Later I found out it was native brook trout. So that's what got me hooked on it, because there's nothing like fish in the little holes. The average person will walk by not thinking there's anything in there, and here you have some of the most colorful, most beautiful fish you can find here in the state of
I
Pennsylvania.
absolutely agree with you. I think they are the most colorful, beautiful fish that we can fish for here in the state of Pennsylvania.
This from here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Well, even of the non-native species to our area, I
Yeah.
still think they're the most beautiful fish. I mean,
Yeah.
but for me, it's a little bit different. I grew up fishing for native brook trout,
Right.
so I mean, I have that attachment. But obviously, you just enjoy trout fishing.
Yes.
And well, bass
Bass
fishing,
fishing is cool, too.
and catfishing,
Right.
and we obviously we do other types of fishing. We're not just strictly trout fishermen. Where do you see yourself going with this? Do you see yourself doing anything with this other than what we're doing, just having fun, or do you want to do more with the fishing? Obviously, we have the classes coming up.
I was just
We're
about to say
going with Mike and Joe to become certified fishing instructors for the state. And anytime we do a live event, you're generally there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is there anything else you'd like to do with this?
It's one of those things. I just want to be able to have as much knowledge and learn different styles of fishing, so that way I can be there and have the ability to pass on to somebody else. Like I said, I come from the inner city. I have friends that look at me now and they're like, "You sure you the same kid I grew up with?" And I'm like, "Yeah." It was just something, I just didn't have the opportunity to do these things. I had a couple camps here and there growing up, but as far as actually being able to, like, now I can leave out of my house and within 15 minutes I can be in a few different places to fish, and fish for a couple different species. So, just for personal, for personal knowledge, just to keep learning more I can. Like I said, we're gonna go to the ice fishing, take the class on being an instructor. That will help for, multiple things. Like I said, I have people that always want to go fishing, and they want to fish, so that way I can pass some things on to them and teach them how to, the proper way to do this, and then look out for certain things, along with just my own experience from just trial and error.
Yeah.
So
Fair enough.
pretty
Fair
much
enough.
it.
Yeah, passing on the knowledge is a lot of fun, and it is a big reason why we do this, obviously.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know this. Carl, comes out and he helps puts together. I'm gonna invent my own word. Carl helps put together the fishing lures, and you've helped with a couple of the products, and
Yes.
you're pretty big in on that end of it too.
Yeah, well, it was one of the things I remember in the beginning when you had a vision, and I was like, okay. I told you then, like, you need a hand, I'll help you. So, and it's fun. We sit here and, just bang out a bunch of lures and just bang off different ideas. Even when it comes down to when it's time for new generation, like, okay, I have to pick out the book and start looking at different colors and different patterns of colors, and it's like, okay, well, and it's just one of them things from trial and error, little things we've different over the years, other things have been used in different color patterns that have caught fish with. So, we just incorporate that, and I give my ideas with that, and some of them we work with, some of them it's like, well, maybe we'll try it on next go. So, it's just how it is, but it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's just my little peace and tranquility.
I've often referred to you and a couple of the other guys like Mike and stuff like that, and Joe, is my pro staff. You guys, do all the testing of all the products.
Yes. And to this date, I've caught fish on every lure from each generation except for, I'm gonna say, maybe 2 or 3.
Right on.
Because I've used them, don't get mad, but I might use another brand here or there, but most of the time I'm using, the brands, or it's just...
Yeah, and generally whenever you use that other chicken brand, I make fun of you for it.
Yeah, you do. I wasn't even gonna say that part, but it is what it is. Some days, you get in the hole sometimes, and if you go on a trip and there's a day nothing's hitting, you're like, okay, I'm gonna start throwing everything I got at them now. Something's gonna bite.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I got them in my box too.
They just don't get used to it.
They just don't get used. I couldn't tell you the last time I tied one on. It's been years now.
You know what?
They're still in there. I ain't gonna throw them out.
Them away, but you never know. See, my thing is another thing, like the little native trout. One of these days, if something was to ever happen with me, I had to be out in the woods somewhere. Generally, I'm not going to find a lake somewhere or big streams or big river somewhere that I can go and fish. I'm going to find some little stream somewhere up on a mountain. That's how I may have to eat that way. So, that's another thing about the little natives. The better you get at hunting them, I can sure if I ever needed it, I'd be able to eat.
So do you consider yourself a bit of a prepper then?
I'd say so. Over the last years, it's been one of the things. Like I was in the army and I was in infantry, so I know how to survive out in the woods if necessary. But it's just the more you learn and the more knowledge you have, better prepared I'll be for whatever happens. So
yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Okay, so my battery died and we completely lost all our momentum. But I was telling a story. If you ever get to meet me or be out, and walk with nature with me, I'm the type of person, I pick everything up and I'm like, here, taste this. Here, taste this. And I'm getting nods from off camera too. But Carl, you're very much, okay, what was it? Not everybody's like that. A lot of people, what is that? What's it going to taste like? And a lot of people are very timid, but you've never been timid about eating the wild edibles with me.
No, I first started that once again. It was at the YMCA camp when I was a kid, and we went on nature hikes, and they taught us about different plants. Was one I remember. I can't think of the names of it, but it smelled like Fruit Loops back then, and it was an edible one. And then there was another.
I'm gonna guess the Fruit Loop one might have been Spice Bush.
May have been. I don't. It's been so long.
It's just an educated guess.
Yeah. Well, that was that, and then there was a couple other ones we tried, and then, then like I said, I was in the service, so yeah, I've eaten ants and worms and crickets and all other little critters. So I figure, what the heck, it's not gonna kill me.
Fair enough, and we've developed enough trust. I'm not gonna feed you nothing that tastes tastes that bad. Obviously, some things you do like better than others. Of the things I've had you try, can you think of something that you actually enjoyed?
Plantain.
Plantain?
Yeah, that was pretty much the first. I still have some in my jar. The relish you made.
No, that's not plantain.
No, sorry, it's the
ramps.
No.
The ramp relish.
Ramp relish.
Yes.
That's what it was. The ramp relish.
Yeah.
Plantain wasn't bad either, but because the plantain you made the dip out of. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, but it was good too.
Yeah.
The ramp relish, because it was weird. It's just one of those. It's a unique taste, and it's just not something I can go to the store and buy. So
yeah, fair enough. I want to get Mom to make me some more, but my parents swear up and down they'll never do it again because their house smelled like ramps for a week.
Yeah, it is a little strong, but it's pretty tasty.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. Maybe we can get the Dennis's to do that once they open up their outdoor kitchen, their fresh air kitchen.
That'd probably be a big thing.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing for doing it up there, maybe. It sounds like a pretty good idea to me.
Yeah, it sure does. We'll have to mark that one down.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, we've talked about the past, we've talked about the future, we've talked about the present. Anything else you'd like to add with us tonight?
No, I just stay. I'm happy to be part of, this presentation, and because I like being outdoors. Like I said, it's my peace and tranquility. That's where I keep from losing my mind. So like going out and doing things, out in the outdoors is refreshing. So if you get a chance, it's a good thing. Get people to get out there and do it, and this platform promotes that. To get outside and do something. Even when you live in the city, you can find a little small stream, and you never know if it's coming off a mountain. You probably have some little natives in there, or there's a little river somewhere close that you can go fish.
I was actually just watching a YouTube video a week or so here ago about a guy. He was in Philly,
Right.
fishing for brown trout.
It
was concrete everywhere, but there was water running, and he was fishing for brown trout, and he was catching them.
Yeah, they're everywhere. I mean, they're native. They're here. So
brown trout are actually native,
but
yeah,
they're my favorite. They're of the bigger ones.
They're naturalized.
Now. Well, they've been here long enough.
Yeah, they're naturalized now.
So like the rainbow.
Yeah, I know you like to catch your rainbows because they don't come around this area that often.
Nah, once you get them, it's cool.
Yeah, right on. All right, well, I think that's about everything. Thank you, Carl. And we completely skipped over a whole topic. Got any ideas for the 200th episode?
I want to do something special. Go somewhere and catch just monsters.
Monsters.
I just want to go catch monster browns.
Don't we all?
Yeah. That's okay. Because guess what? I'll make sure I'm wearing a camera that day. Because when I'm wearing the camera, I catch the fish. So.
Fair enough. It does seem to work that way for you.
It does. So, I just want to go out and it's figured. It's hard to believe it's 200 episodes already.
Yeah, 200 episodes.
It just seems like time's gone so fast.
Almost 4 years at this point.
And it's like, whoa, where did the time go?
Yeah.
And I look back and like I said, we look back at some of the, I'm flipping through YouTube, looking at some of the older episodes, and it's like, wow, look at this. That, and I watch some of the techniques that I'm using, and I watch how they've changed and how I approach some of the same streams. I've watched them because we've done multiples, and I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, okay, I know this branch right here. I know this little bend. There's a little overhang, and I sit there and I watch which way I'm coming at it, and it changes
every time.
Right. So, just keep at it.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely making a difference somewhere. Somebody somewhere is getting some enlightenment and some entertainment because we're kind of funny sometimes.
It is nice to hear back from fans, which I hear back mostly from my live audience fans, the people that I actually go lecture to. But it is fun to hear back from people who I have changed their life in some small way. Like, we've started using white pine tea around my house. You know what I mean? Or we went out and made a cattail salad. Recently. Catty nine-tail salad. Things like that. It is nice to hear from fans. So if you ever want to speak to me, please go for it. I like it. Now, with that, we're going to end this evening. Now, real quick, don't forget, we're coming up to that big 200th episode. We're really building up with that. We got more of these We Are interviews coming up over the next couple weeks. They're going to come out on Sundays, opposite of our traditional show. And keep an eye out for that giveaway. That giveaway is coming right now. Check it out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you want to find us, and you will find information on how to get entered into that giveaway. Giveaways are good, right?
Always.
Free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff?
And there's some good free stuff, too. You'll like it.
Oh, we already announced it. If you remember, we announced it with that Moria knife set.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we're going to include a lure set in there. Oh, yeah, we're going to load it up for them.
The lures work great, trust me.
Right on. That's a good endorsement. Well, thank you, Carl.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.